Welcome to Email Marketing in 1 hour. My name is Paul Teague. I'm your webinar host this evening, and I am the Digital Development Manager at Cumbria Chamber of Commerce. We've got a really packed hour for you this evening. Delighted to see so many people with us. And we're going to be mixing it up a little bit because I'm aware that on these presentations we've got people who are completely new to something like email marketing, and we've got people who have been doing it for some time. So what I try to do during the presentation is mix it up so that we get some quick wins for people who have got some experience with this, but also so we don't leave people who are brand new to this behind. So throughout the next hour, you're going to see me run through the essentials of email marketing. We'll have a quick boot camp for beginners and for experts. I think with email marketing there are some really important things that you've got to know, and a lot of people who are doing email marketing often don't know some of these basics. So make sure you listen for those, and I'll steer you right on that. A lot of businesses, I know this because I do a lot of training for the Chamber of Commerce, a lot of businesses I know go for Mailchimp as their email marketing account of choice. The reason for that is that it offers a free option and it's very well known and very robust. So I'll be using as my tool of choice this evening Mailchimp, but I will be referring to other services too, because I'm aware that not everybody uses Mailchimp. The important thing about tonight's presentation is that it's the principles that you need to grasp. So if I'm showing you something in Mailchimp, you need to say, well, how can we do that in our email marketing tool if you're using something different? Throughout the hour, I'm going to have lots of great tips to help you to power up your email marketing. I'm going to show you how to add a Mailchimp sign-up form to your Facebook page. A lot of people are always amazed when I show them this. It's really simple in Mailchimp. I'm going to talk to you about 2 essential numbers that you need to be monitoring if you are email marketing. And during the presentation, I'll be walking through Mailchimp. You'll see me in my Mailchimp account, which I use for training purposes, and I'll be taking little stop-offs along the way and just showing you little tips and tricks and things that are hidden within Mailchimp, which I find many people aren't aware of. Just to let you know that the slides and the webinar replay video are going to be available within 24 hours of the live presentation. So what happens is it's timed from whenever I turn off the webinar, whenever I finish the webinar, it's 24 hours after we finish, not 24 hours after we start. So probably about 8:30 to 9 o'clock tomorrow you'll get an automated email with all the links in that you need. So you can watch it through at your leisure as many times as you want. You can access the slides, and also I also put the Q&A at the end in a separate video if you want to watch that as well. So let's dive into the learning, and I want to give you some quick wins first of all. I like to do these quick wins because I like to make sure that everybody, whatever the level of experience with email marketing, everybody get something very quickly out of the presentation. So the quick win number 1 is you need, when you're using email marketing, to cross-promote your social media channels. So in the emails that you send out, it's really good practice to have links and social share buttons at the bottom of your email. So I've shown you what it looks like in Mailchimp, and we'll go and take a closer look at that a little later when I actually go into the Mailchimp account. But within Mailchimp, when you're writing emails, you can just drag these little social share buttons and make sure that people can either follow you or share your content on social media. Now, I use a system for my personal emailing away from the Chamber of Commerce. I use a service called GetResponse, which is my tool of choice for my email marketing. And this is what it looks like on my emails. It just gives these little social share buttons at the bottom of my emails. There's a very important reason for that, a very important marketing reason for that. So this is the reason for that. When you market online, whenever you do anything online, in any kind of marketing, online or offline, there's this rule of marketing which says that customers, prospects need 7 touches before somebody gets your call to action, whatever that is. Volunteer in our charity shop, come and visit us on a special open day, take a 10-minute free consultation, download our brochure, whatever your marketing message is for your business. It generally takes 7 touches before somebody's actually going to get the hang of that. So what that means is that when you're sending out your marketing message, you can't just send one email and expect people to get it. and to just buy or do whatever it is you want them to do. You've got to follow up, and they've got to see the message, the marketing message, in a number of ways. And this is why social media is so fabulous, because you can send an email out and then they might catch you on Facebook or Twitter later, and then they might download the brochure, and you're all over the place. You can be all over the place with social media. So by putting or encouraging people not only to open your emails but to connect with you on social media means that you stand more chances of making these 7 marketing touches. And not all of those touches, by the way, are online. They don't have to be online. They can be leaflet drops, they could be phone calls, they could be networking. But the key point here is the 7 touches rule. You're not just going to be able to send one marketing shot out and everybody's going to buy it. You've got to have many marketing channels, and in these days of social media, that makes life a lot easier for us. Quick win number 2, and I'll show you this, I'll actually show you it on the screen in a moment or two. So if you just grab the concept first, remember that I'm going to give you the slides as well so that you can look back at these images. But if you grab the concept first, and then I'll show you how to do it on the screen. It's really good practice with email marketing to use personalization, and Mailchimp makes personalization really easy. Now, they don't give them a very user-friendly name on Mailchimp. They call them merge tags. Merge tags, and you can see on the screen that I've highlighted what the merge tags look like when you're writing one of your messages in Mailchimp. Now, any email marketing tool will do this. They will all have merge tags or the equivalent of merge tags. They just all call them different things. But this is definitely something that you should look out for. Because if you get an email that just feels like it's been sent to 1,000 people, it doesn't feel very personal at all, well then you're probably just going to disregard it and say that's a marketing email. Who wants to receive these emails that are just sent out to 1,000 people? Whereas if you use these merge tags, you can actually put in first name is the usual tag that we use, but if you get really clever with it, and depending on the data that you've got in your email marketing database, you can actually personalize an email to say, hi Fred, hi Frida, hi Bert, hi Bertha. How are things today in Workington, Whitehaven, Barrow, Carlisle? So you can personalize those fields. It's a really good technique. Now, you know that you're doing email marketing properly when people reply to your emails as if you were writing to them. Sometimes I have to say to people, you do know that this is a marketing email, don't you? I'm not sending you individual emails, but that's actually a good sign, because you know you're doing it properly when they think you're talking just to them, and that's what we're trying to achieve with our email marketing. You and I know that we might be sending out 500 emails at one time, but the recipient shouldn't feel that way. So we use these merge tags. Now, in Mailchimp, you can see on the screen on the left-hand side, I've shown you where the merge tags are, and I will go into Mailchimp in a moment or two and show you how that's actually done. But the other thing with Mailchimp is you can actually just use, let me just get my coloured pen out here to show you, you can actually insert that specific tag there. It's got to be exactly as I've shown it there. You can actually put that in the subject line of your email, so you can say hi Fred in the email subject line. Now, when you're wading through your emails and you're weeding out the spam and the double glazing and all the dodgy emails that you get in the morning, you're going to be more likely, or an email with your first name in that looks personalized is more likely to get your attention than one that doesn't have that. So you can use those tags with Mailchimp in the subject lines and actually within the body of the message itself. Now, again, this is not something that you're going to memorize. You're going to need to refer back to the slides for this. But if you want to be really, really ninja with this, if you are advanced at email marketing, in Mailchimp, if you put that code at the beginning of an email, it will automatically work out. If it's got a first name, it will use it in your database. But if there's a blank in the first name field, it will actually just say hello without putting any name on there at all. So always personalize your email. Again, although the specifics might feel a bit alien to you now if you're new to email marketing, what I would like you to get is the principle, which is that these emails shouldn't be stuffy, they shouldn't sound corporate, they should feel friendly and chatty as if you're talking to a friend. Let me just remove my pen marks from the page and we will move back on with the presentation. Okay, quick win number 3. And again, I'm going to dive into Mailchimp in a moment or two and show you where these are. This, I think, is one of the hidden secrets of Mailchimp. When you get a free Mailchimp account, One of the problems with it is that there's no automation in there. So people can sign up to your email marketing list, they can register for your emails, but when they register, they don't get that first email. Now, in marketing terms, the way I use email marketing is I usually give away a free gift, a free download guide to something in exchange for a name and email address, and that's how I grow my marketing list. Now, a lot of people say to me, well, hang on, how do we do that with free Mailchimp? Because there's no automation in free Mailchimp. Well, in actual fact, there is, and it's hidden away, in the depths, unfortunately. It's in the list area, and you can see on the screen there, I've highlighted it. It's the screen that says send a final welcome email. Now, you may have spotted that, and you may have clicked that box so that you get that email. So if you think about the process, people register for your emails, and then they confirm that they want to receive your emails, and then they get that first email that just says, welcome to the business. Now, what people who use Mailchimp often don't know, number one, is that button even exists or how to use it, but they also don't know how to customize that message, and that's the hidden secret of Mailchimp. If you customize that message, you can send people a free gift in their first email without actually having to upgrade in Mailchimp and have to start paying for it. So you can give them a free brochure, you can give them a free code, you can send them, whatever it is in your business that you give away for free in exchange for a name and email address. So let me just go away from the screen now, and I'll show you these things in practice. Let me show you where these things are in Mailchimp. So you're looking at my Mailchimp account now. Now, just to let you know where we are with Mailchimp, I'm going to click between two screens here. So I actually use it in my own business, GetResponse, and I've used that for years. I have used Mailchimp, but when you start to email market at scale, when you get a lot of subscribers, Mailchimp gets very quickly quite expensive. So, but also the automations I don't think are as simple as other systems. But Mailchimp absolutely is a great tool to use if you're looking for something to get started with email marketing. And the other thing is that when you've had enough of Mailchimp, you can just export your list of subscribers and import it into a new software if you want to. So it is completely portable. So I'm going to show you Mailchimp tonight, but every now and then I might just nip over to GetResponse and show you the equivalent in a different piece of software. So Mailchimp is what we're using tonight. And then let me just get my colored pen out so I can just show you where I am. These are the main menus in Mailchimp, and I'm going to be using tonight campaigns and lists mainly. Campaigns and lists. Those are the two key tools that we'll be using for this. Now, I will be taking you on a tour of Mailchimp later, but for now, let's remove my vandalism on that screen, and I'm going to show you where you would get those social buttons from first of all. So in quick tip number one, I talked about social buttons. Now, campaigns in Mailchimp, whoops, I've logged myself out. Campaigns in Mailchimp are their messages. They're the messages that you send out. Now, I only use this for training. I don't actually use Mailchimp in my business. I use it for training. This is what I always train businesses with because it's a great tool for training. So here, these are just messages that I've created to send out. So to create a new message, you click Create a Campaign. I'm just going to call this, we call it Webinar. If you just call it Webinar Test, it doesn't matter what it's called. And it's going to be what's called a regular campaign, just a regular old campaign in Mailchimp. So this is an email that I might be sending out to my list, and I'm going to choose one of my lists here, and we're just going to go for the entire list. And then this is something, by the way, about Mailchimp that I'm not very keen on, and I'll just highlight it for you. If you're ever wondering where the button is, the next button, it catches me out every time. It's down there in the corner, hidden. That catches me out every time I use Mailchimp because they hide that button. They don't color it or do anything to help you see it. So let's click on the next button just there. Okay, and then I'm just going to put test for an email subject line in there, and then I'm going to click next because I just want to get into the message area. And I'm just going to use, instead of using the complicated emails, I'm just going to go for a very simple text version of that email, because I want to show you very quickly where these social share buttons are. Let me get my colored pen here. Those are where those social share buttons are, just there. So if you want to put social sharing in any of your emails, and I would recommend that you experiment with that, then you would just drag that block into the email, and then on the right hand side here you can change the link text if you want to, just there. Or if we just save and close that, social follow buttons. Social follow buttons. So this is where you would insert your Facebook page, your Twitter page, and your website web link. Really, really important stuff, this, all right? We don't just market to people on email. We've got to market to them across social media and across channels as well. And this is how you do it very, very simply in Mailchimp. So if you're not doing it yet, please add social share buttons to your email marketing. I've spelt webinar incorrectly. Apologies for that. That's me talking and typing at the same time. The two never go very well. Okay, so let's now go for merge tags. So if I save and close that, let me talk to you about where the merge tags are. If we were writing an email, what Mailchimp does is it just creates a basic text for you. If I were going to write an email now, I would click on this box on the left-hand side. I would click on the pencil, which indicates it's the editing area. And let me just get my yellow pen again so you can see it clearly on the screen. That's where the merge tag is, just there. It's a little drop-down menu hidden away on the side here. So if we wanted to personalize an email, let me just get rid of my markers. If I wanted to say, let's just delete all this text here, and I wanted to say, hi Paul, hi Bert, hi Frida, I would write hi, use the merge tags, and then you can see all the tags that we've got here. Most of these you're not going to want to use, but we could just say hi first name. Now there is the exact tag that I showed you on the slides. Okay, so that will pull in the first name in your database. Hi Fred, hi Bertha, hi Paul, and then you can say, so how is it going, you know, today? Oops, today. See, talking and typing, and then we can put that first name in, and then you could even say something like, I just wanted to check that, and then I could put the email address in there. That is your best email address. So we can put those personalizations in really, really easily in Mailchimp. So that's how we use merge tags. Merge tags. Now, what you've got to remember, it takes a little leap of faith the first time you do these, in that what you see is what you can see on the left-hand side here. But when you send that email out, it will pull in that data in those fields from your database, and when the customer receives their email, it will all make perfect sense, and it will be a beautifully personalized email. The other thing I want to show you from the quick wins, let's just go back to, whenever, by the way, on Mailchimp, if you ever get lost in the menus, just click the chimp's head up there in the top left-hand corner. If you ever get lost, it's like sort of Hansel and Gretel's bread there. It'll take you back to somewhere you recognize. So if I click on the chimp's head, it takes me back to my menus at the top here, which is often, often a blessing. So we are going to go through this more basically in a moment or two. I just want to show you where these quick wins lie. Click on lists, and if we go into either of these areas, let me get my pen again here. I'm going to go into this menu here. It's not quite obvious that it's a menu unless you can see it close up. So let's go into that menu, and we're going to go into sign-up forms. No, we're not. It says no. I'm telling a lie. I beg your pardon. We're going to click on lists, and we're going to go into here, and then we're going to go into settings. I beg your pardon. We're going into settings, and I'm going to change this value in list names and defaults. Now, this is the crucial area. This is where we can send that automated email without having to upgrade. It's there. So it's lists, and it was list name and defaults. That's where I find that. So you need to put a tick in that box. You need to make sure that that box is checked for each of your lists. So if I clear the screen again. Now, here's the ninja trick. Here's the ninja trick with this. We're going to send a final welcome email, but at the moment we've got no control of what it says. It's just going to be a standardized email from Mailchimp. If we go into the list forms designer just here, And people don't realize this because I don't think it's obvious in Mailchimp. It's a little fault with Mailchimp, I think. Here, in this area here, you can actually customize every single message that you send out via Mailchimp, every single message. So what people don't realize when they use Mailchimp is when you click that drop-down menu, every single message that you could possibly send out, you can actually customize. And this is the one that I want you to customize, the final welcome email. If we have a look at what Mailchimp says there, look, the only email that they get is your subscription to our list has been confirmed. Well, I don't know about you, but that's not a very cheery welcome to your business. That, in my opinion, that's not very welcoming, is it? So you absolutely must customize that email there, that welcome email. So, make it friendly. Let's establish a nice friendly voice in the business. Hello, thanks ever so much for joining or subscribing to our newsletter. We promise we won't send you any spam. If you want to stop the emails, you can unsubscribe at any time. But in the meantime, here's a free gift. Here's a link to our brochure. Here's a discount code next time you come in for a coffee. Something like that. Give them something in exchange for signing up and registering to your list. Now, please, whatever you do, don't send them your subscription to our list has been confirmed. Okay, it's corporate, it's horrible, it's not friendly. Let's let them know, give them a nice hearty welcome. Let them know that they've made the right decision by signing up to your email marketing account. I mean, let's face it, we all get enough emails, don't we, in our inbox. So you've got to really work hard to justify having your email in somebody's inbox. Okay, so those were the quick wins, and for those of you who are new to Mailchimp, I know that you'll be thinking, ooh, that's a bit advanced that hopefully those of you who are using Mailchimp, that will be news to you, or you'll have got some tips there. Let's just go through a couple of the basics now in Mailchimp, and if I want to go back to the beginning, I always click on the chimp's head, so we'll just put my account back there, and let's go back to some email marketing basics before we go back. Now, first things first, what is email marketing? Okay, email marketing allows you to capture the names and email addresses of your prospects and customers. So most of the time, if you look up the screens on the left-hand side, normally the way that you will join somebody's email marketing list is you'll put your name and your email address into a form on somebody's website, and they'll send you a brochure or something for free. That's you, or you'll subscribe to their newsletter. That's how you go onto somebody's email marketing list. Now, when you've got a prospect or a customer's email, it means that you can follow up with them whenever you want, as many times as you wish. I call it customers on demand, because when you've got somebody's name and email address, whenever you've got a sales campaign or a marketing campaign on, all you do, turn on the tap, send out an email to those prospects and customers, and you will make sales or you will get a response from them. If you think about the process with this webinar today, we sent out an email to you. I went for the 7 marketing touches because I also promoted it on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Twitter. So it was all over the place. I cross-promoted it last week. So the 7 touches tip that I gave you at the beginning, we're trying to get the message through to you in many different ways, but the majority of people who registered for this webinar today, and it was nearly 250 of you, I think it was, just registered for the webinar today, all from one email. We're not even sending out repeat emails. We just sent a single email out. So email marketing is really, really powerful. The other thing is you can capture whatever information you want. Now, normally, I would recommend that you just get an email address and a name at first, but eventually you get phone numbers, addresses, shoe sizes, car insurance renewal dates, all of those sorts of things as well. But it also, this is a really important thing about email marketing, it gives you analytics about who's opening your emails. So you know how well you're doing. You know whether you're doing badly, well, what you can improve, and what you could do much better, basically. So why should you care about it? Well, if you're not using email marketing in your business, and any business can use email marketing, any business, there's not a business on earth that I've met, people do a variety of things at the chamber training that I do. Everybody I've ever met could use email marketing in your business. Basically, it boils down to this. Could you do with more customers? Could you do with more volunteers? Could you do with more people through the doors? Could you do with more phone calls? The answer is yes. If you could do with more of anything, then you need to be using email marketing because it's going to help you to do it. If you're letting prospects visit your website or blog and then just leave, that's like somebody walking into the shop and you filing your nails or reading the paper and just ignoring them and walking straight out again. If you don't make an effort to get their email address, then how can you ever follow up? How could you say, well, did we have what you want? Can we offer you this? Did you know we do this? How could you ever do that kind of follow-up with a prospect? You're going to lose out on repeat sales, cross sales, and upsells if you don't use email marketing. If somebody buys from you once, they're more likely to buy from you again, so long as they've had a good experience. It's easier to sell to an existing customer than it is to find a brand new customer. That's why email marketing works, because we've got existing customers and hot prospects in our list. Everybody else is using email marketing, so if you're not, then the competition's getting one up on you. Your competition is doing better than you. So with email marketing, you've got to try and get people's name and email addresses, and don't feel that, oh, we get too many emails. Don't ever worry about that. If somebody's a right fit for you, if they're interested in your business, they will keep receiving your emails. If they're not, then they will self-qualify. They'll unsubscribe and they'll walk away. Think about it. Think about the emails that you read. There will be emails in your inbox that you always look forward to reading. You'll look at them, you'll read them, you'll enjoy them, and there'll be other emails that you just sign, you think boring, and you delete it straight away. What you need to be is one of those eagerly anticipated emails in people's inbox, not one of the ones where you think, oh, no, thank you very much. Okay, so lots of good things about email marketing. I've put lots of them on the screen just there. And one thing I do want to make very clear to you about this is when you have a Facebook account, you have likes. When you have a Twitter account, you have followers. They are great things to have, but you don't own anything. If Mark Zuckerberg forgets to put £1 in the meter at Facebook and Facebook switches off, you have nothing left. If Mark Zuckerberg pulls the site, all you've got is a whole load of likes that you don't own. The same with Twitter. If Twitter just disappears, if it goes the way of MySpace and Friends Reunited, you've nothing left. With email marketing, it's your data. You own the data. You're building an asset within the business. Now, I'm not saying don't do Facebook and Twitter, because for reasons I've already explained, they are part of your 7 touches of marketing. But you own the data when you use email marketing. Okay, so where to get started? I think most people, if I were advising you when you're a new business, I would say use Mailchimp. I know people who use Mailchimp who've got many thousands of subscribers, and people who use Mailchimp who've just got a handful. So Mailchimp is a great place to start. To be honest with you, I've used most of them during my time. I've used, on the screen there, I've used Mailchimp, GetResponse, Aweber, Infusionsoft, Premium Web Cart. The only two on the screen there I haven't used are One Shopping Cart and iContact, and there are many others. There are many people on this webinar who probably you'd be using all sorts of software, I'm sure. Okay, but Mailchimp is a great place to start. Why? Because it's free. You can add up to 2,000 subscribers and send out 12,000 emails per month for free. Now that's a really good proposition for somebody who's just starting in business, maybe a little bit strapped for cash, doesn't want to spend too much too soon. What a great proposition that is, and there's nobody else but Mailchimp really does that, and it is a free forever plan. Now, the problem is that when you have to start paying for Mailchimp, the price is going to go up quite quickly. But for most businesses, or many businesses that I talk to around the county, 2,000 subscribers, 12,000 emails per month, that's going to keep people going for a long, long time. And that's why I always train with Mailchimp. Okay, even though if you're a bigger business, it might not be the right thing for you. Okay, so before I go into the email marketing rules, let's just dive back into Mailchimp. And when you log into Mailchimp, you're taken to a page like this. Now, clearly, I've got subscribers and lists, and I've written emails. Yours is going to look empty. The cupboard's going to be bare when you come to Mailchimp. But what Mailchimp will do is it will guide you through, when you log in for the first time, it will guide you through a process of setting it up correctly so that you are compliant with the law. And I'm going to talk about the rules of email marketing in a moment or two. But before I do that, I just want to guide you around the essential areas of your Mailchimp account. Now, as I said right at the beginning of this presentation, most of the time you are going to use campaigns and you are going to use lists. Those are the key components of using your Mailchimp account. Now, when you start to send out emails, you're going to start to look at reports to see how well your emails are doing. Now, with Mailchimp, you've got to pay for automation. That's why I was showing that quick win trick right at the beginning of the presentation. So you're going to have to pay for automation, I'm afraid, with Mailchimp. But what I would recommend if you're new to email marketing is just get the hang of it first before you start looking at complex automation. And the other thing that you might want to use are templates. Now, again, people vary with this, but let me tell you my thoughts with emails. Emails that have beautiful designs and lots of images do look very, very nice. But when you send images and lots of links in emails, particularly when you're sending out 100, 1,000, 200, 500, however many people you've got on your subscriber list, you then start to have problems, particularly if you're sending out to corporates. You start to have problems with content that is blocked. Now, it's been very interesting for me because I work part-time with the Chamber of Commerce and I have my own business outside of the Chamber of Commerce. So I've sent emails, or I've been on the receiving end of emails that are being sent through the Chamber. And what I see is a lot of emails get blocked at corporate level. Outlook Express and the very severe anti-spam setups that corporates have tend to block a lot of things if they've got lots of links and images on them. So as a general rule of thumb, although those images do look very nice and the emails look very pretty, as a general rule, it's better to send simpler emails. So in fact, in my own business, and actually in the Chamber we do this too, you'll just see us really send out text emails. They don't have pictures and things like that all over the place. And usually they'll just have one link. If there's a page to look at on the website, they'll usually just have one link to click. So my personal feeling is the simpler the email, the better. The more clutter that you've got with links and things to click and stuff like that, the more problem, particularly if you're sending to corporates, the more problem you're going to have getting through their spam filters. So just bear that in mind. So for that reason, I'm not going to go into detail with templates, but most of the time with templates, you're going to probably want somebody who's got a little bit of idea about design with the templates, to put your corporate colors in and things like that. But stop and think before you do that. Now, what I usually say to people, I'm going to show you something called split testing in Mailchimp this evening. What I would suggest you do, if you really feel that you want to have corporate colors and lots of images, then split test your emails and see whether you get a better response to the pretty ones than you do to the plain text ones. And I'll show you split testing later because it's a very important thing to know about. So test it and get the evidence. If there's no difference, fine. Send out pretty emails. But as a general rule of thumb, I think you're better if you keep it simpler. So let me take off my scribbles once again and talk you through here. So before you start in Mailchimp, you've got to have lists. You've got to have subscribers. You've got to have names and email addresses. Now, as you can see, I actually am running a little project on here at the moment, so I do have some real-life subscribers in these lists. So if we go into this Insta freebie one, don't worry about what it is. It's just a campaign that I'm doing in my own business rather than the Chamber business. And the key menu here is that we must create at least one list to use Mailchimp. You've got to have at least one list. Without a list, you can't do anything. So if it's first time here, you click on that button to create a list. And when you've created a list, we're going to click on that button so that we can start to access that and start to do some pretty cool stuff with it. So let's go and have a look at what's inside there. So having created a list, I'm going to dive into the list and we're going to go into sign-up forms. When you create forms on Mailchimp, there's a couple of little things that a lot of people don't know. Always go for the general forms. Unless you know about coding and sort of fancy things, if you've got access to the code, it's fine. Have a look at these. But generally, most people are going to be looking at general forms. So if I click on select here, one thing that a lot of people don't know about the forms on Mailchimp is that Mailchimp gives you this link. It automatically creates a link for your sign-up form. And that link, this is one of the things I love about Mailchimp because it takes the geekery out of this. If I put that link into a browser, Mailchimp, without any kind of tech on your part, actually creates a web page that's hosted on their servers that you can share. So you could quite literally take that link from Mailchimp just there, you could cut and paste it, and you could share it in Twitter, in Facebook, on LinkedIn, and when you've got your email marketing list that you want to start building up, you could say, oh, register here, just send that link out. So there's no cutting and pasting code or doing anything unpleasant. You can quite literally start to build your list to get people subscribing as soon as you've created your first list. Now, Mailchimp makes this really easy for you. You can click You can share it on Facebook. So if I click that link there, look, we can share that straight away on Facebook. I'm not going to do that now. Or we can share it on Twitter. It will share the link. If I show you where that link goes, it's going to go directly. Let me just erase that. It's going to go directly to our login form. All right, so no geekery involved, and that's one of the things I love about Mailchimp, because for beginners it makes life really easy. Now, hopefully we've got some people on tonight who have offline businesses. Maybe you're somebody from Made in Cumbria and you might sell at markets, farmers markets and things like that. Well, here's a nice tip for you with Mailchimp. You might have a restaurant or something like that. Mailchimp creates QR codes for you, a QR code. And when you scan that QR code with your mobile phone, it will take people to your link, your form. So if you've got menus, or if you're remote, say you're doing farmers markets, you could put a little poster up, you could take that QR code and you could say to people, find out where we are at the next farmers market, scan this code, register for our newsletter. So you can put that code, get the large one if I were you, if you're using it for print, use that huge one, and then it's better for print. People can scan that with their mobile phones. They can sign up for your news list, even if you're in the middle of nowhere at a farmer's market, and they, wherever you are, and they can access on their mobile phone. They just scan it, and off they go. They can register for your list. So if you've got any kind of offline marketing, maybe a brochure, leaflets that you hand out in hotels, maybe you've got menus in a restaurant or a coffee shop, use the QR code element and encourage people all the time to be registering for your email marketing list. So that's just a couple of tips about the list there. The other thing I would encourage you to do is in this top box, let me get my yellow pen out just here, in this top box here, try and personalize the form if you can a little bit by putting an image in there. Let me just get rid of the pen, there we go. So in this area here, you can edit that, and at the very least you should put the name of your business in there, name of business. What I would prefer for you to do is to click the image icon here and there we go, I have got an image in here from previous, just select an image and brand it. So here I've put a logo on that I use for training purposes. I could put a link to my website in there, so if I put a little link in there to paulteague.com, my blog, com, and open in a new window, save and insert the image, and then you will see, there we are, we have very quickly customized that sign up form without getting too fancy with anything. We've not got too fancy, we've just customized it very quickly. Again, if you click on the design it area, if you want to customize the background there, you could do that too. So if I wanted to make that background red, let's go for a reddy color, there we go, I could customize that background. Now I am going to leave that customized for you, because I'm going to show you another little trick later that you can do with these Mailchimp forms. In fact, let's do that straight away. So having created that Mailchimp sign-up form, remember at any time it saves the changes. We can share that on Facebook or social media, and people can register straight away for our forms. It's very, very easy coding. You don't have to know anything about coding. It's what we call a what you see is what you get editor. So let me show you another fantastic trick that you can use with these Mailchimp forms. Fancy adding a form to Facebook? Well, here's two tricks for you. If you were with me on my Facebook training a couple of weeks ago, one of the things I told you to do on your Facebook page was to add what we call this call to action button. Now here's a great thing that you can add to the call to action button. If I'm in the Chambers site here, if I click on edit button here, the link that we could put on there is a link to our registration form. We could just put our form in there, in that button, because I have to remember to change this, by the way, tomorrow. And when people click on that button then, it's going to automatically take them to our registration form. So without having to get geeky or into horrible code or to pay for this, we've very quickly got a way of starting to get names and email addresses because of the way that Mailchimp does that. So that's in your Facebook form. Let me show you something even cooler that Mailchimp will allow us to do. Where's my Mailchimp gone? I've lost it. I'm going to have to log in again, excuse me. I've closed down the window that had Mailchimp on it. So let me just go back into my Mailchimp account and log in. And by the way, when you see me logging in so easily, I'm using something called LastPass, LastPass, LastPass. It remembers my passwords and saves me having to remember things. So if we go now, having created that nice form, if we go to, let me get my pen out so you can see it on the screen. I'm going up here in this menu into my profile area. I'm going to show you a lovely little trick that we can do with Mailchimp. This is actually, to do it is actually really techie, but it's not on Mailchimp. It makes it really easy. So if I click on Profile, and then at the top of these menus here, sorry to keep getting the pen, but I just want to make sure you can see where I am here. And I have put all this in the slides, by the way, so you can refer back to it. So that's where I'm clicking now. If I click on Integrations, in the Integrations area, we can add a sign-up form to our Facebook page, and to do that you need to connect your Facebook page. Right? I have already connected my Facebook page, and then we can then say page to use. Well, these are all the Facebook pages I've got, so let's use the Cumbria Chamber of Commerce page. I'm going to be in trouble with the boss tomorrow if I forget to put this right. And then the list to use, so these are the two lists I've got in Mailchimp. So if we say let's use the Insta freebie list there, do you want to use a sign-up form tab? Yes, we do. Which form theme do we want? You want to use my lists theme, the default theme, and then the tab label. Let's put register for our newsletter. It might be a bit long, but we'll put that on anyway. Oops, I've spelled newsletter incorrectly. Newsletter. If I click the save button now, just trying to remember where I'd put that save button. On the Chamber of Commerce site now, let me get my pen for you again. It's added on the menu of our site, register for our newsletter. It's added that Mailchimp link without us having to do anything too technical. When I click on that link now, this is why I coloured it red. Look what's appeared in there on our Facebook page. We've now got a mailing. We've got a mailing form on our Facebook page as well, and we haven't had to do anything technical. So that is in your integrations area. So it's up at the top here in your integrations area. All you have to do is connect Facebook, follow what I've just done on the screen there, and it will add to any of your Facebook pages, or all of them if you want to. It'll add one of those nice forms. So what I would recommend you do, because remember what I said about 7 touches of marketing, we need to encourage people to register for our email marketing list as often as we can. Put the link on at the side, put the link on in the call to action button too. Mailchimp makes all of that really, really easy. Okay, let's go back to the slides. I'm just having to keep an eye on the time here, make sure we fit everything in tonight. I just want to go through some email marketing rules, because there's a lot of misconceptions with email marketing. People say, oh, it's a spam email. And actually, you need to understand what spam email is, because people get this wrong. Okay, the first rule of email marketing is you can't just email anybody. Okay, so I can't have a word with you and you say, oh yeah, I've got 10 emails that I got from the farmer's market. I'll share them with you. They gave me permission to email them, but they haven't given the other person permission. You can't just share people's email information. We call this permission-based marketing. People have to give you permission to send marketing emails to them. Now, there's a difference between transactional emails. If you send me a personal email and say, hi Paul, I just missed something on the webinar tonight. Can you just send me the link? Okay, that's what we call a transactional email. It's just between you and me. It's not a marketing email. It's a conversational email. But a marketing email is where we're sending out 50, 10, 100 emails all at once to a group of people en masse. Those need to be permission-based emails. Okay, and they're very strict rules about how we do that in a permission-based way. Now, the important thing is that you must make sure that you add your full name and accurate business details to your email account. Now, when you set up a Mailchimp account for the first time, Mailchimp will force you to do that. It won't let you use Mailchimp unless you've done that. And that's another reason why I recommend that you use it if you're new to email marketing, because it will guide you through that process. Now, the other thing is that Mailchimp will say to you, there's a little permission reminder. You can see it on the screen there. And it says, remind people how they signed up to your list. And I bet you've done this. When you're looking at emails and you've maybe come in on a Monday morning and there's 200 emails there and you're in a bad mood because it's Monday morning and you're just thinking, where have all these emails come from? And you're just deleting them like there's no tomorrow, hoping you don't miss the important ones. sometimes you look at emails and just think, I didn't sign up for that email. Why am I getting that email? And you might then be tempted to report that email as spam, when actually it's not spam. You actually asked for that email. We just happen to have caught you on a bad day. So by reminding people how they signed up for your list in the first place, you're just making them pause before they report you as spam. So you signed up for my list because you requested our newsletter. You asked for more information about our business. It needs to just describe why they're receiving your emails. Okay, and then it will just make them pause and say, oh yeah, I asked for a brochure, didn't I? That's why I'm on this email marketing list. So it's a good practice to do that. Now, the other thing about spam is, now, just because you don't want to receive an email, just because it catches you at a bad time, and just because maybe you think it's a little bit salesy, that doesn't make it spam. That doesn't make it spam at all. It's spam if you didn't give the sender permission to email you, and if you then make it difficult for them to unsubscribe. So every email at the bottom of it should have a link that says unsubscribe from these emails. You shouldn't have to ring. You shouldn't have to email the sender of the original email. You shouldn't have to do any of that. There should just be a link that says unsubscribe. You click it and you're gone, and you no longer hear from somebody. Now, the other great thing about Mailchimp is Mailchimp takes care of that for you. There's no geekery. Mailchimp will not let you send emails out without being legally compliant, which is why it's a great place to start. Okay, so long as you just send out emails to your list, to the number of subscribers that you've got, they will take care of all of those fields. They'll prompt you. They'll make sure that you get it right, and that's why it's a really great place to start. So we need to have a physical mailing address, not a PO box, by the way. You mustn't put false contact information in your account. And the other thing to remember is, although we're in the UK listening to this tonight, probably the servers of the service that you use, they're probably going to be in the US. So in actual fact, most of the time, you have to observe US standards in terms of your email marketing. And I have to be honest with you, I've been email marketing since about 2008. And I've looked at the Information Commissioner's Office, which is where we tend to look at in the UK. And I must stress, I'm not a legal expert on this. This is just my observations from having done email marketing since 2008, is that actually if you follow the rules in the US, you'll be good to go. I think the US have pretty well got it sorted out. So our kind of EC regulations mainly relate to data protection. You know, that I don't sell you my list of 1,000 subscribers and let you freely email them when you've not got permission. So if you're behaving in a corporate way, in a professional business way, you're not really going to get into trouble. So don't lose people's data, don't share people's data, make sure you've got permission to market to them, and when they want you to stop, make sure that you stop. Don't keep sending them emails when they want you to stop. I think this is good practice. Ever since I've been email marketing, I do actually register every year via the Information Commissioner's Office. Now, it costs me £35 annually. I don't hold sensitive information on people. I generally just have their name and email address, so there's nothing sensitive about the information I carry. But I like to be belt and braces with these things, and also I think it makes me more credible as a smaller business if on my privacy and my terms and conditions page, I have details of my Information Commissioner's Office registration. So, you know, I let people know about that. I'm proud to share that. To me, it makes me look like a more professional business. So it costs me £35 a year to register with the Information Commissioner's Office because I am holding people's data, very, very simple data. If you're a bigger business, 250 plus people in the business, it's £500 a year. So most of the people on this call are going to be paying £35 annually. It's very simple. When I started doing it in 2008, it was a pen and paper job. Now I just renew it online. It's really, really simple. Okay, so let me just check the time. 10 minutes, 12 minutes to go. 5 great email marketing tips then. When you have an email marketing list, you'll find that they can become unresponsive over time. And by unresponsive, it means that people don't open your emails. They get used to hearing from you. When you've got an email marketing list, it's really good practice, particularly if you're moving from one service to another, to run your contacts. So you export them as a CSV file. In any database system, you can always export your contacts into a CSV file, which is basically like a very simple Excel spreadsheet. Export them into a CSV file, then run them through a service like Bright Verify. Now, Bright Verify is the service that I use, and I do this at least on an annual basis. I export all of my subscribers, I run them through Bright Verify, and then I re-import them into the service. And the reason that I do that is a lot of people, particularly if you're giving out a free gift, and I learned this from my kids that you can do this, you can now get emails, you can sign up for emails that self-destruct in about an hour. So you can register for an email, you can get the free gift, and then you don't have to worry about getting people's emails anymore. So what Bright Verify does is it removes all the dead emails, the emails where the inbox is full and it can't send and it's going to return them every time, all the false email addresses. It gets rid of those and it keeps your database clean. So Bright Verify is a great service to use to keep your database clean. I would recommend to you, if you're serious about email marketing, clean your database at least once a year to make sure that you've got rid of all those dodgy, dead emails. That's really important because Mailchimp monitors how many bounces and unsubscribes and spam reports that you get, and they will block your account if it looks like you're running poor data on your account. So it's a pretty good thing to do. Tip number 2, prioritize mobile. You can see on the left-hand side of the screen there, that's what a email should look like on a mobile phone. Now, if I'm getting emails from you and I'm having to scroll across my mobile phone up and down because it doesn't fit on the page, well, I'm sorry, but you're a little bit out of date and you need to get into mobile optimized emails now. Because I don't know about you, but I read virtually all of my emails on my mobile device these days. And if your emails don't look nice on my mobile device, I'm probably out of there and unsubscribing. And just look at the numbers on the screen there. Mobile is so important. It's got to be embedded into everything you do. The great thing about that is if you're on your Mailchimp, you're mobile friendly. Everybody can read your emails on mobile devices. A/B split testing. This is something I must show you tonight. I'm going to make sure I show you that on the screen. A/B split testing allows you to test the subject line in your emails, the from name in your emails, the content and the send time. This is really important because what works for my business might not work for your business. So for instance, in my personal business, I have a lot of people around the world, particularly in the US. My biggest audience is in the US. So if I send emails at 8 o'clock in the morning, the USA is going to be asleep and I'm going to be missing them. So rule of thumb is I generally don't send emails until at least after 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon because it hits my UK audience and my USA audience. Now, you might be a UK-only audience. Now, the Chamber, for instance, sends its emails during corporate hours because we're sending corporate emails. So do you know what the best time is to send your emails? Probably not. You're probably just guessing. So with split testing, and I'll show you how it works in a moment or two, you can test the send time. You could also test the content. Remember what I said to you about 10 minutes ago? I said that you might want to send very plain emails with just one link in it and no images. Or you might say, oh, I want to send pretty emails with lots of color and images all over the place. You can test your content and see which gets opened and read more. The from name is important too. So in your business, you might send emails from, say, your business name. So it might be Frida's Flowers, for instance. So when people get an email, it's from Frida's Flowers. And you might want to say or test where the emails come from. So instead of saying Frida's Flowers, you might do a little test that says Frida Blogs, if that's your name. And you might find that the personal touch, putting your personal name on it, gets more emails opened. So that's another good thing to test. And subject lines, absolutely, you must test your subject lines. If you think about coming to your email inbox in the morning and you've got 200 emails there and you've got no inclination to read most of them, which are the emails that catch your attention? They're the ones generally with the better subject lines. They're either from the boss, which they have to catch your attention, or they've got a really nice subject line on there. They're intriguing you. Like a newspaper headline, they're pulling you in with the suggestion that there's something really interesting in the email. So it's great practice to use A/B split testing to test your subject lines. And particularly if you've got a big promo on, it's really important that you shift some units and you make some sales. Make sure that you test your subject lines. So that's I'll show you these on the screen in a moment or two. A lot of people who do email marketing say, oh, we mustn't send out too many emails, only one a month. All right, that's wrong. I want you to get over that. If there's one thing you do as a result of this training tonight, you cannot send too many emails. Well, you can, but I mean, within reason, you can't send too many emails. I want you to think about emails that you like receiving from people that you like to hear from. Okay, that's where we want to be in our prospects and customers' minds. Now, I get some emails from Writer's Digest that are to do with authoring, and they send me maybe 3 or 4 emails a day. I just delete the ones I'm not interested in, because I know that every now and then they're going to send me emails I'm fantastically interested in, very, very interested in. Okay, so that's where you want to be in people's email inboxes. Now, this is what we call a resend to no opens. When you send an email out, not all that many people are going to open it. Maybe only about 20% or 30% of the people open it, which means that 70% didn't. 70% were too busy, they just deleted you because it was first thing on a Monday morning and they had no patience. They just weren't in the zone for opening your email. So when you resend to unopens, you're not disturbing people who've already read your email. Instead, you're giving it a second go with people who didn't open your email. And the trick to this is don't use the same subject line. Make the email look different. The content could be exactly the same, but make the email look different. And what that does, it gives you a second bite of the cherry. It gives you an opportunity to engage and make sales from people who didn't open that first email. Now, I'm going to show you this in GetResponse because it's easy in GetResponse. I have to say, unfortunately, Mailchimp makes this a little bit more complicated than I would like it to be. So rather than wade through that this evening when I'm limited on time, I've given you a web link to show you exactly how to do a resend to no opens in Mailchimp. It's a very, very important marketing technique. And then another important marketing technique is offer people a fewer emails option. So do you remember I showed you right at the beginning, I showed you how to customize your welcome email, when you could also customize your sorry you've unsubscribed email. You know, sorry to see you go, and I would personalize that one. Were we sending you too many emails? Maybe you'd like to receive fewer emails from us. It's really good practice when you start email marketing at scale to have a separate list where you put people who maybe get emailed just once a month or once a week, depending on the frequency that you email. It's a good thing to do to offer people, if they are at the point of unsubscribing, saying, I've had enough, you're sending me too many emails, it's a good chance to say, well, hang on a minute, if I sent you fewer emails, would that be better for you? Now, just make sure that if you have that separate list for fewer emails, maybe just put a date in your diary where you email them on the first day of every month or the last day of every month, something that's really easy to remember. And then that way, it's a way of salvaging a customer or a prospect before they leave you. It just gives them that opportunity, because most people, the number one reason when people unsubscribe is, I get too many emails. And we're all in that zone, aren't we? We all get too many emails. So give people a chance to just go on a slow track. And that way it means that you can keep engaging with them as a prospect or a customer, but they haven't left you. And it's a really important channel for marketing, is email marketing. Okay, so let's just go quickly into Mailchimp. I'm just keeping an eye on the time here. Blimey, doesn't time fly? And if to do an A/B split test, we would click on campaigns. We would click on create campaign. If I call it, I'm just going to call it Web 2. And we create a split test campaign in campaign type. That's where your A/B split testing is. So if I just create that campaign now, and then we'll choose a list to send it to, and click the next button. So this is just the process I showed you a little bit earlier on. This is how we do a split test. Now with a split test, it really depends. You need to have a certain number of people on your list really for this to work. Mailchimp says we recommend at least 5,000 recipients per combination because you need to get some meaningful data. But basically how a split test works is you say, right, I want to send a different subject line to 25% of the people on my list. And I'm going to come up with 3 subject lines, 3 different subject lines. We're going to send at random to 25% of people on my list. And then when I know which subject line was the most popular, I want you to send the most popular subject line to the remaining 75% on the list. Now what that means is you get to do a little bit of testing before you send it to the majority of your customers. And this is really ninja marketing because you've done some testing. You know that you're sending out to 75% with a subject line that gets more clicks and opens. That's like doing your market research before you send your email. So split testing, definitely something that you should use. It works better when you've got more subscribers, obviously. If you only got 10, it's not really going to work because the data sample that you're using just isn't big enough, unfortunately. But you definitely should use split testing in your business. The last thing I want to show you today before I move on to the slides is I just want to talk to you about the 2 essential email marketing numbers. When you send out emails to your subscribers, you're going to get data from Mailchimp. And now actually what I've done is I've shown you 2 lots of data here. The top is the kind of data that I get from my GetResponse account, and the bottom is the data that you get when you send out emails using Mailchimp. These are really important data information that you need to get. You need to know how many people are opening your email and how many people are clicking whatever's in the email. You know, look at our blog, or look at this picture, or look at this video. So we need to know how many opens we've got and how many clicks we've got. Now the clicks are usually lower than the opens. Now in the example that you can see on the screen there, 38% is a pretty good open rate. People sort of worry if it's not 99%. You're never going to get, well, unless you're doing extremely well and you're very close to your customers, you're generally going to get open rates maybe, you know, if you're very lucky, 50–40%. Now in the industry that I'm in, email marketing, or that I used to do a lot of email marketing, we used to get open rates of maybe 3 or 4%. So it really depends on what industry you're in as to what your open rates are. And then your click rate, your opens and click rates basically show you whether you're doing it right or whether you're doing it wrong. So if you get higher open rates and higher click rates, do more of that. And if you get lower open rates and lower click rates, do a bit less of that. You need to keep an eye on your unsubscribes, because that's generally, I mean, again, you're always going to get unsubscribes. Don't worry about that. You will get unsubscribes. It's just part of the course with email marketing. But if those unsubscribe rates go high, then maybe you're doing something wrong. Maybe it was a little bit salesy. Watch your bounce rates too, and your complaint rates. Okay, again, you're going to get complaints. Usually you're sending me too many emails, or I didn't request this email, even though they did. But if those figures get too high, then your email marketing service provider is probably going to start having words with you. Now again, those aren't high. The ones that you're looking at on the screen there, the open rates and click rates are pretty good, and the unsubscribes, bounces and complaints are about right. And if you look at, whoops, if you look at the bottom, sorry, I just skipped through a slide there. If you look at the bottom here with Mailchimp, this is just a test newsletter. You get the numbers of opens and the number of clicks. And that's what you always need to be looking at with your email marketing. Just check those numbers, because they're giving you feedback. Every email you send, you're getting feedback with those opens and those click rates. I can't believe it's 8 o'clock already, so I'm going to flick through to the slide screen. And as ever, I've provided extra slides for you. I understand that in an hour, you know, I'm trying to give everybody, whether you're a complete beginner or you're experienced at this, I'm trying to give everybody a little bit of something that hopefully they don't know. But I've put some extra slides on, which you can download via the link. They'll be there tomorrow. They're not there yet. They'll be there 24 hours after this webinar ends. So that's the link you're going to need to go through. If you're on the webinar anyway, I'll send you an automated email in 24.5 hours time, whatever it is, and it will have the slides on there, it will have the replay videos, everything that you need, and some extra web links and resources to help you with this. So that's the link that you need to jot down right now. Not a lot there at the moment. What I do is I process the webinar video first thing on a Wednesday morning, so it will be there by about 10 probably tomorrow morning, but I'll send you the email reminder out anyway.